Hey, it's Chris Carlin from Upper Deck.
And it's also James Hughes from Upper Deck.
And you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Hello everybody, my name is Ian Taylor and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. Brought to you by the Marvel Cards Fan Collective, an awesome community of card collectors and creators. You can find our two groups on Facebook, details of which are at the end of this podcast, so come check us out. With me, as always, is my co-pilot in all things Marvel Cards. He puts the cuss into customer service. It's Norrin Rad.
Hey everybody.
How you doing, buddy?
I love it. How are you, man?
I'm going to say something that's going to twist your noggin. How's your year going so far?
Oh, my year is going. I'm very excited
that 2022 is happening.
22 is happened and soon gone, and on to better 2023, 2022 goodness.
You're wishing the year away. You do realize that
I just skipped it.
This episode, by the looks of what's coming on the horizon with this damn virus, it's probably.
I'm probably in the right. Everyone's like, "Wow, Norrin's like a fortune teller. This is amazing." Yeah,
let's just fast forward.
You're welcome.
Let's just fast forward.
We're just moving on.
But let's get straight into it. I'm really excited this week because, quite frankly, I feel spoilt because not only did you hear on recent episode our boy Travis from Upper Deck, which we've yet to record, so this is all a bit weird. Today, we don't just have one person from Upper Deck, we have two. And quite frankly, I'm giddy with excitement. I didn't memorize your job titles, so I'm just going to ask you fellas if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves.
Absolutely. Well, some of you may know me. This is going to be James Hughes. I'm a customer care rep here at Upper Deck, and I handle a lot of the e-pack inquiries and I'm very active in your guys' Facebook group. And I couldn't be happy to be here and talk with you guys as well. Thank you so much for having me.
And I am Chris Carlin. I am the head of customer experience here at Upper Deck. So I manage our customer care team, our community coordinators, a lot of our social media, work very closely with our shops and distributors to make sure that all our fans around the world are having a great time with everything that we put out in the market.
Well, I'm tickle-picked. Quite frankly, what we basically saw there, Norrin, is that Chris is James' boss. So James is on his best behavior.
Yes. Always.
James is a godsend. Okay, he is always on his best behavior. He's the man.
James.
Yeah, I don't have to worry too much about James. So that's good. He gets it. He's passionate about what he does, and he does. He is a total unicorn here because James is one of the few folks who really, understands not only our sports products, our memorabilia products, but he also is passionate about the entertainment products we release, but gaming as well. So James has actually done at a show like Gen Con. He'll go out and do demos and things along those lines. So he is not just a double threat, like a quadruple threat for us. So I love having him here.
Good. Okay.
Awesome.
Hopefully that means he'll be getting 4 times the salary as we go into the new year. I'm already putting you in for a raise there, James. James, am I right in thinking that you might have had a background actually playing sports?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've played hockey. I've played baseball. I've played football. I've played golf. I've played basketball. Pretty much every organized team sport you can play, I did it.
Wow.
I played them, but not well.
I didn't play them, hence my physique.
Yep. Same.
I knew you were going to agree with that one.
Same and same. I got nothing.
So I want to ask you both kind of similar questions, really. I guess because Chris, you've very much got a sports background as well, and I often see you very much as the face of Upper Deck. You're certainly very prolific, and you're out there, and you've been on lots of podcasts. I've watched you on loads of things over the last year, and it's great seeing you out there. And I always see your face on social content on Twitter when you're at conventions giving fans surprises.
Don't say anything on record you're embarrassed to say, and remember, there's pending restraining orders.
I'm out there. I get it. I'm out there.
You're out there. But what's your? How long have you? So you're out there a lot. But tell us about your journey to being that guy at Upper Deck. Where did you start? Where did you come in from Upper Deck?
Yeah, I graduated college. I was supposed to be a teacher, and a buddy of mine was living down here in Carlsbad. He had a beach house. He was pretty well off. He's like, hey, why don't you come spend the summer down here? We'll just have some fun, and you can figure out the teaching thing later. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And I went to the Chamber of Commerce for Carlsbad and just looked at what businesses were in the area so I could get like a summer job after college. And at the last one, of course, with the U, is Upper Deck. And I was like, holy crap, I collected that stuff like all the time when I was growing up. Like that's what me and my brothers did. This is amazing. I put on a suit. I did my resume. I just started showing up at Upper Deck headquarters and whatever you got, just give me whatever you got. And they had temporary roles at the time for our quality assurance department. And that was working back with the cards, and you would organize them into sets and have them ready for if customers had complaints or situations, so they could easily pull them and ship them out to collectors. But also preparing sets for leagues and for players and things along those lines. We did a lot of fulfillment like that for. So I organized the heck out of those cards, and my first job actually was wiping the backs of cards that an athlete had autographed, but he used the wrong pen, so the pen bled onto the back of other cards. So it was me and two other guys, and they're wearing like cut-off jean shorts, and I'm wearing a suit, and we're with we've got like alcohol and Q-tips, and we're just cleaning the backs. If you touch the side, then it was going to get into the card and screw them up. So I cleaned the hell out of those cards. So I was excited to move into the quality assurance department. And then when an opening came in customer care, I kind of have that gift of gab. So I love talking with people and talking about what I'm passionate about, collecting, and was able to move into a management role, and move out to Las Vegas with our company and start our customer care group out there. Then come back to California for an opportunity with our marketing group, and then kind of go full circle, coming back to customer care, doing more on social media, kind of as an extension of marketing and sales. I think marketing, sales, customer care, they all really kind of go hand in hand. So I feel like we really work as a team with those groups to deliver a great experience for our fans overall. Wow. Man and boy has been there. So James, how long have you been in Upper Deck headquarters?
Approximately about 2.5 years now, and it's been the best 2.5 years of my entire life. It's been the best job I could ever ask for.
Wow.
What's funny is he's not. It sounds like he's sucking up, but James is like so happy every day he comes into work. So it's he's great to work with, and he really is dedicated to giving he's like, you sure we can't do this for this guy, Chris? Or he's like always kind of fighting for our customers. So I love that about him.
Good. Well, you must have. Listen, I know what it's like because I used to work in box office, and so I've done my fair share of frontline customer service, and I know you've got to have a pretty thick skin for it. So I take my hat off to you because there's been some passionate folk around of late.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is that the Marvel collecting community today is drastically different than when Upper Deck first kind of dipped our toe in the water back in 2011, 2012, which is exciting. I mean, it's awesome. But at the same time, lots of passion out there. And I tell our reps, you kind of got to be quick to forgive and forget and move on to the next one if you get blasted for something that's not really your fault. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Listen, the last thing I want is for James to go home weeping into his pillow every evening. So it sounds like you're weathering the storm quite well.
I was a server for 10 years, so all my weeping has already been done.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, you probably had the worst of it then. So tell us about how you're. Because I know that you posted something recently which kind of got my gears going for this episode on your Upper Deck Assist Twitter feed, which is your official customer services Twitter feed.
So I mean, if you're a fan of Upper Deck's Marvel cards, definitely want to give at Upper Deck Assist a follow on Twitter. If you ever have questions, concerns, issues, it's a great quick resource for folks who don't want to call an 800 number or send an email. I think in today's world, if I'm upset or frustrated about something, I'm quick to hit Twitter in particular for a brand to try to get a response.
Everyone goes to social media. Yeah.
So what'd you see on Upper Deck Assist?
Well, I saw this wonderful team photo of all the Upper Deck assistees. I'm not sure if there's a collective group noun for you, but Upper Deck assistees sounds good. All gathered around the Upper Deck sign, just like a group shot, which we'll probably put in the tasting notes for this episode, actually. So how many in the team? How many you got there? Because it looks like a pretty serious operation.
Well, I'm not for a variety of reasons. As a privately held company, we don't share that, but it's not hard to figure out from the photo.
Oh yeah, sure.
But at the same time, we've expanded our reach. I feel like customer care shouldn't be a one-way road where we just wait for people to contact us. It's important that we're out there, and James is often on Facebook or on the ePack message boards, et cetera, engaging with fans there. But we've brought on a new division of representatives called community coordinators, and their role is to be that Chris Carlin out there, the face of Upper Deck for each of their respective business units. So we have a community coordinator for Overwatch League trading cards and esports. We have a community coordinator for trading card games. We've got a community coordinator who you recently met, Dylan Davidson, for entertainment trading card releases, our publishing releases. And then we'll be bringing someone on to handle sports as well. So again, to help just make ourselves more available to our worldwide audience and just be there and have more, I guess, tentacles out there to assist in all the little webs and cracks of the online world to make sure that we're there for folks.
Yeah, I of course, for those who are listening, who are in the groups, Dylan is the new Angelica. So I believe Angelica was the first one that you had in that role. Yeah. Looking at the Marvel side of things, and she is missed. Dylan is hairier and just as lovely, I would say.
Yeah, he is. I was so excited when interviewing him. He's been fantastic thus far, and I think everyone's gonna really come to love him just like they did Angelica. So yeah, he'll be a great fit. And another, just again, we want to have as many resources out there for our fans as possible. And I love that Jason Mashura, Mike Phillips, who you've had on the show, really get that, really see the importance of that it's not just a one-way street for collectors. Like we need to be out there, in the message boards, out interacting with them, mobilizing our fans, around, certain programs or events, and which we haven't had a ton of, but hopefully we'll start getting back to that. As I think that's going to be where the real fun of the community coordinators begin, is as we're hitting more events and meeting people and pressing the flesh, saying hello, shaking hands, and or giving fist bumps, whatever we're doing these days. But just meeting fans and engaging more that one-on-one type of contact rather than just, online.
Absolutely. I find it very interesting, actually. When you're talking, I can tell you're kind of. I get the feeling that if I not that I'm going to do this, Chris, if I cut you in half, then it would be like sports logos, because I definitely feel that you're on the sports side of.
We don't do that to guest. I'm so sorry, Chris. We've had this conversation in private. He just doesn't get it. No cutting guests in half.
Okay. Have you seen?
Well, I got into this because of sports, absolutely. But I'm the youngest of three brothers, and one of my brothers was just crazy about comics. So he was my influence there, and his passion was Daredevil. So we've enjoyed the Netflix series together, and it was fun to just kind of escape into comic books back then. I love the Disney Plus. Saturday mornings we would watch the X-Men and things like that together.
Yes.
Now the Disney Plus has brought those back, and I'm watching it with my kids, two boys. It's like total full circle. But I've tried to give my kids sports cards, and it's not like they're allergic to them, but they don't love them. And but when I give them Marvel cards, it is so cool to see their eyes light up, and they're all about that base. And then I haven't really shared inserts with them, or they've had a couple. They call them raries, but their excitement is just the characters, the art, and it's just a lot of fun to see them laying on the carpet with all their cards out and doing trades with each other. And Dad, James did an unfair trade or things along those lines. So sports is my passion, but I'm falling in love. I love all the Marvel movies. I'm falling back in love with it through my kids. So my son actually started a Marvel club at his school. He was in third grade, and he wrote this letter to the principal, and I shared it on Twitter a while back, but Marvel actually responded and said, "Do the right thing, Principal Bond." So he was able to get it going. So
that's amazing.
Cool. That's pretty
In case you were wondering, Chris has a son named James, so I wasn't the one laying on his floor.
Okay, there we go. I was
like my adopted.
Still weird when he lays on my floor and plays with his cards, but I mean, what can you do? You know what I mean?
There is a resemblance. No. It's the reason I said it is because I always pick up on this because I work for a marketing agency, and it's interesting that and Ticketmaster do this as well. They have their vernacular is very much fans, and that very much comes from the sports side. And it's very much whereas with all my clients they all think in terms of customers, but fans is quite a tribal thing, and it's very much from a kind of a sports background, I think.
Well, I would challenge that, because in customer care we think of it more as fanatic.
Interesting.
So someone who is incredibly passionate about our products, so in a fanatical type of sense. So that's how my main references to fans is coming from. There's collectors, and I think that there's fans who are that passionate base.
I love that.
I love Disney, the way Disney refer to them as guests.
Yeah.
I just think that's just so cool, because anyway. So I guess what's, from the customer service side, what's the most common thing that you're getting, James? What are you hearing the most? What's the most commonly asked thing that you're getting coming to you?
Yeah, as far as the Marvel side, I deal a lot with the EPAC side. I've really taken a step up in the past 6 months and started to handle that side of the customer service department. So a lot of that on there is either damaged cards that comes in, smudged signatures, like you guys have probably seen with the Thor Ragnarok series previously, but a few other things, just like customers checking in, see if they're missing cards, cases, following through. It's just a whole lot of a mixture.
I think James is being a little polite. I think one of the biggest things that you deal with are collectors who are frustrated over a trade, or our EPAC fans are like big kids. They're hilarious, and it's more like you should see what so and so did, or there's a lot of tattletaling going on, and he kind of manages that beautifully. So it's really interesting how we are all just big kids at heart, and EPAC really is that playground for us, right? So every once in a while there'll be a kid with a skinned knee or some hurt pride, and James does a great job of embracing them and getting them back out there to have some fun.
Well, James is the best, because I've hit up James so many times already. Not about my stuff, but like being like, "Hey, James, these guys are having a thing. Can you help me out?" Just a little bit. Poor James is like my go-to immediately. But yeah, it's funny in the group when it comes to trades and stuff, and this is good for viewers to hear and stuff. Always double check your trades. Don't accidentally click anything. So many people in the group are also like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this trade? What does this look like?" Just a really great way to be more cautious about trades, especially what's going on EPAC. It's pretty phenomenal, actually.
A lot of the big ones we've got in recently is all the new AEW customers that are coming in and trying to figure out how to ship their cards home, trying to open their packs. So that's been a lot of back and forth going with them. But it's been a pleasure because, it's a whole new community coming in. And just as you guys opened me to your guys' community, and, we got to do the same thing. And it's been a pleasure to watch them grow and learn. And we're excited to release that product as well. And
now that is a fanatical base of fans.
What's that? I missed the acronym. What was it?
AEW, so All Elite Wrestling. It's a new wrestling set that we're coming. Really, they have a worldwide fan base, and they've been a lot of fun to deal with so far.
Yeah. That's cool.
People in spandex.
Yeah.
That's how we cross over with them. That's our common.
Exactly. That's the connective tissue.
That's the thing that pulls us together.
Exactly. Yeah. The spandex. There's always spandex somewhere in the mix.
Always.
Different groups of collectors. What would you actually? That's a very. I just had a note here. What's your? Because James, you probably see both the sports and the Marvel side. What would you say the main kind of differences are in how you're approached and the types of queries that you get? I'm just curious for me because I know that a lot of your product is hockey. And I got a couple of hockey packs recently. I opened them and I haven't got a clue what I've got because I don't know anything about hockey. But the cards are absolutely beautiful. But I know those sets are also very large, and you've got multiple releases throughout the year, and it's a very I wouldn't say a fixed schedule, but there's a lot. It seems to me a much more regular schedule in terms of the fact that you have to fit in with the sports seasons and things. So what's the biggest kind of crossover and the biggest differences you'd say from the two different types of fans that you're getting?
I would say the biggest difference right off the bat is the when I see the hockey customer, they're more along the business side, where the Marvel collector is more along the passionate side. But I guess you can argue that either way of seeing the prices for some of those Marvel cards and products right now. But I would say that's the main difference I see. And it's really a whole different community. They're both a pleasure to deal with. They're both a pleasure to, make good things happen for. But just seeing, the community that you guys have pulled together, everyone's there to support each other. Everyone wants to see everybody come out on top. It's not necessarily competing. They love seeing all the collections. That's been the main joy that I've seen coming from the Marvel side. And as far as the crossover, just everyone over the last year, the collecting that has grown in this business has been outstanding to see. And I think that's just the main thing that each one of those have in common right now is they're just excited to see where the future goes on both sides.
Yeah, I've referenced it before, but it feels like the Marvel card collecting community right now, the ones who've been in it for a while, like you two in particular, it's kind of like that you're enjoying a band that you really love, but you don't want them to get too big, And right now, all of a sudden, they're selling out stadiums, and you're like, I think I like this, but it's a bit scary. I hope they stay true to who they were. So that's kind of what it feels like to me, is that the Marvel cards have become that band you always love that have gotten big, but you're still along for the ride. But you were the old school fan.
Yeah. Am I still going to be able to afford tickets to their next gig?
That's the problem, man. Like, it's crazy.
No, a lot of people have been contacting me in particular, and I'm sure Ian too, and from celebrities to people who have. Yeah, I'll tell you later. You had celebrities. We've spoken about it. Particular celebrities who are into cars, looking into Marvel, and then also people who we're really looking at sports and like put a lot of serious money in sports is now saying, all right, what's going on with Marvel? I'm interested. Explain it to me. Let me know what's going on. Can I get into the group?
It's absolutely that. There's a lot of people with deep pockets who were in the sports, again, kind of like myself, and a lot of them have kids, and they're looking for some fun way to engage with their kids in a hobby that they're passionate about. And especially those collectors that are on e-Pack, it is so easy to flip on your phone or your computer, put your kid in your lap, and just start having fun with it. So I think that's kind of how it goes. But having so many, I don't think we could have ever imagined that so many folks would come to the Marvel side. Like Jason's a huge fan and advocate for it. Bubby, like we all believe in it. Yeah. But to see it actually happen into this level is a bit crazy because, we'd love to, obviously we're a business, you'd love to just turn the printing presses on, but we're very cautious and careful about making the right amount of product for the market and making sure that there's value in the product. So it's always a very tricky recipe to kind of concoct and put together.
I'm really glad you said that. Like, that was some of the questions I've been getting too, is like, is Upper Deck going to print a lot of this and just use this as like printing money and going strong? And, it's funny, my response, because, I've had the pleasure of knowing you guys in some way, shape or form for a year or two now. And I'm always like, the Marvel side, they're really smart. They really love this stuff. They do this out of passion. This is not, This is something that, and it's so early. Right. And I think that's the craziest thing about Marvel. It's just so early that you can kind of look to the past and be like, I know what happened here. This is something that could stay true and stay unique. You know what I mean? But also still keep people interested and excited. And I mean, some of the videos we get in the group that are my favorite are the ones of dads and moms opening with their kids Marvel products. It's just awesome to have that experience. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I think what the future will bring is more diversity in releases. So we wouldn't want to just make more product. We would just make more for the different types of collectors out there. So love it. My kids love Marvel Ages. It's a lot of different stuff in there, but it's easy. It's basic. It's not going to break the bank too tremendously. But then there are, for those customers with the deep pockets, then there's things like Premiere. And, it's kind of different strokes for different folks. But right now, it's just tricky getting anything made, which has been a real struggle for us.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because obviously the past year has brought a number of challenges across the board, not just within cards, but obviously all that impacts on, every avenue of life and business, of course. So, there's the huge swell in demand, not just in Marvel, but, across all cards from what I'm seeing. We spoke to Mike Phillips earlier last year, as it will be now when people hear this, and he very eloquently explained to us some of the challenges that you guys have had with actually just making these cards during a pandemic. Yes. So how are you, and that's probably about 8 months ago now since we spoke to him. So how has that been in terms of how that's impacted just generally? I mean, as much as you're able to share, of course, and how that has impacted in, the kind of questions you're getting through customer services, but also, the decisions you make about how you go about things.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like baking a cake, and you find out you got the oven on, you're ready to go, and you find out there's no sugar, or you got to run out to the store, and your cake's not going to come out right when you wanted it. So that's the other issue is you want to make a lot of cakes, so you want to make a lot of different types. So it's where does everything fall? And I think with a lot of things happening in this marketplace, especially regarding sports right now, where licenses have changed significantly or are in the process of changing. I think a lot of those manufacturers would love to turn the printing presses on and make as much as they can before their deals end. And they just can't get time on press. And the vendors that produce cards for us had to rethink how people used to work shoulder to shoulder, and how do they reimagine their workspace? So there have been a lot of updates there. There have been a lot of things that they had to overcome. There have been shutdowns because of COVID for some of our vendors, I know. So it's really just getting back on track. This Omicron variant's not helping any. But I know that we have Mike Phillips does a great job. Suzanne Lombardi, who's our VP of Logistics, is incredible at getting a product out the door. So I think that our leadership is definitely in tune with all the challenges and is definitely going to get us over the hump and get more releases out. I think this year in particular is going to be a very, very special year as we overcome some of these supply chain issues and get more releases out the door. I'm excited that, we finally have a date for Marvel Annual, which will be, a release in January. And then I know everyone's fired up for Metal Universe Spider-Man. Obviously, we wanted Metal Universe Spider-Man out before No Way Home, but we'll get it there. So we'll get it that over the hump too. And I think that franchise is one that people are still going to be talking about when that release hits. So it's going to be great.
Wow.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's not going away anytime soon. Shall we just take a brief moment, because not less than 2 hours ago, Norrin, you were still sat in the cinema or theater, as you guys call it.
I just got back from watching it, so I'm like, right. I won't say anything. So
have you guys seen it yet?
James has. I'm taking my kids tonight.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about it. Brilliant. Okay, it is amazing. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It is really exciting. Really cool to see that.
Saw it on Thursday night, and then I had to see it again on Saturday morning.
Lucky.
I'd love to see it again, but for the fact that our government are probably about to shut down all our cinemas, so who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, COVID, schmovid. That's all
I'm excited for you, Chris. You're gonna flip out.
You are gonna love it.
That's the other trick, guys. Is the COVID situation has caused this huge meteoric interest in collectibles, because people aren't going out to the movies. They're not going to concerts. They're not going on trips. They're not going out to dinner. And they have disposable income. Where else do they want to put it in their passions and something they can do at home? So while this Omicron deal is scary, it makes me nervous now. I initially, when COVID hit, I thought that we were going to be in a lot of trouble, because usually when there's financial disruptions or things along those lines, the first thing people put on the back burner is their hobbies, right?
Discretionary spending.
But when people are stuck at home and they don't have anywhere else or anything else to do, it kind of became something that people fell in love with. And so if there are more shutdowns, I anticipate there's going to be even more interest in our category, which is great, but it's scary, because scaling our category has always been something difficult. And Jason has often said we're about as nimble as an oil tanker with regard to how we can move and adjust things, unfortunately, because the printing process is a long process. It usually is about at least a year to build most products, longer for ones that have more technology or more sketch cards. So it's tricky to quickly pivot with regard to manufacturing trading cards.
That's really interesting to me, because obviously it's something that we haven't recorded it yet, but we are going to be talking to Travis, and obviously some of the sets that we were expecting have been pushed. And I imagine that's something you get quite a lot, James, actually. People saying, where's this set? And I imagine to a certain point, based on conversations we've had before, and I know people know this, but it's always worth repeating. I guess to a certain point, your hands are kind of tied, because you can't really say a date, because you might miss it for reasons you can't, and then you're going to let people down. So
you're exactly right. You never want to narrow in on a certain date. We always try and give a time frame, and even then, sometimes that time frame gets pushed back, and that's where the customer and all the right will come back and be like, "Oh, well, you told me this time," and that's where we just have to apologize and say, unfortunately, there's been a few more delays, or that's or not try and narrow in on a certain exact time to where the customer has a broad range of when it comes out.
I think it's funny because 5 years ago we would say, all right, this is going to be out on February 9th. Now I'm more comfortable. And then we kind of moved to, all right, it's going to be out in February. And now I'm more comfortable with it's like, yeah, it'll be spring.
Q2, Q1.
Yeah, summer. Yeah. So managing customer expectations has been tricky because, people make their financial decisions about, people really do put aside, all right, I'm making this much. I'm going to use this for my collectibles. I want to make sure that I don't miss out on Premiere or, anime or whatever it may be. So it's important that we deliver expectations to customers that are reasonable, but it's tricky when we're always kind of having to deal with situations kind of out of our control with how do we get foil for this or things along those lines.
Or the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, because it is the raw materials. I remember last year there was a top loader shortage because obviously a lot of that material is also used in PPE. And there's only so much of it on this big blue ball that we live on. So I can't imagine that was a fun time. It's interesting. It's something you mentioned there. I was going to ask, how is it? And appreciating you probably can't go into massive detail on this, but how is it with your kind of stakeholders, your licensors? Are they a licensee? No, you're a license. Anyway, the people who own the license. You know what I mean? How
We're picking up where you're putting.
Yeah. How are they? Are they kind of understanding of it, generally speaking? Obviously, you've got multiple ones that you need to kind of speak to and do business with.
Yeah, I think they're so excited about all the interest that the collecting category is getting these days. But it's also that, a lot of them are like, let's go out, let's hit everything, and it's like, oh my gosh, like we feel like a dog on a leash here, they want to let us loose and we have to, kind of stay by their side because we are hamstrung by some of these supply chain issues. So again, we're getting closer and things are coming out and I'm excited to see Marvel Annual and some of the ones that will follow that. But at the same time, I know it's just been a bit frustrating for everyone involved, but we'll get there. For sure.
Yeah. No, listen, hats off to you for doing what you are able to do. It's interesting you mentioned, people do obviously. I mean, that's one of the biggest things we see in group is people are like, I need to know what's coming so I can budget for it because, it's a
lot of conversations around that.
And, it is a realistic thing for people because, prices are generally not just you guys, not just Marvel, on the up. For a lot of things, and that inflation is being seen everywhere. So, personally, the way I've done it is I've been squirreling away sketches on e-Pack when Spider-Man Metal comes out because I know I can't afford to buy the set. So I'm just going to be using those to focus on Black Cat as my character because I know I'm looking at you pesky cats. You're going to put Black Cat all over that set just to vex me if no one else. So it's going to be.
That's a really smart idea for sure, and I think that people, Marvel collectors in particular, that have been in this for a while, kind of forget that. While it's a little annoying that there's so much more interest in the category, all their collectibles have gone up in value like holy cow. Like if they look at their 401k and look at the values on their Marvel collectibles over the last 5 years, it's like it's outperforming. See, honey, I told you we should have been putting more in the Spider-Man.
You wanted me all those nights, but I was right.
Your shoes are not appreciating at all, but my cards are killing it. So I think that is one of the cool things about those who have been invested in the category for so long that, there are opportunities for those types of fans to maybe move some inventory that they're not as passionate about to be able to afford some of the new items or be able to get something cool on e-Pack.
Well, that's
really been that's been the big thing a lot of people have been doing actually is just having to reorganize that. I mean, honestly, what's crazy too, I tell a lot of collectors, because of the pandemic, things have been pushed back and all this other kind of stuff, things outside of anybody's control, you know what I mean? Printers and all this other stuff, where I was like, well, this is the perfect opportunity to go back and look at the older stuff in Marvel now and clean house. You know what I mean? Now's the time to create that backlog. Ian and I are character collectors and, my character is banned, hopefully coming back soon. And, I've had all this time to play catch up. You know, I haven't been really I've been sitting on the bench, but now I can come in the game type of thing. And I think a lot of collectors are going to be able to do that with a little breaks in between. I'm just like, Ian's just taking the beating. I'm about to tap him out.
Drunken boxer staggering around the ring.
Call it.
Can I just say on that, actually, it's an interesting point because you'll know this if you've listened, but one of the things we've seen and I've experienced is that I've completely changed what I collect over the past 18 months. So I've shed a lot of sets, and I'm still in the process of shedding a lot of sets, and and streamlining it and changing my focus. And actually, I'm going to mention this now. This hasn't been broadcast yet, but as we record, we're a couple of days out from our kind of end of year special, which is our Christmas episode, end of year special. And we do a little roundup of the sets that have come out this year. And, there haven't been as many for reasons we've just been talking about. But you won't know this yet because you haven't heard it. But the set of the year was Marvel Black Diamond.
I'm not surprised.
Absolutely. Knocked it out the park because that quality, that quality of the way that it was constructed and the way that you could collect it in different ways, and the passion we got from it from talking to Grant, it was completely evident in the DNA of the product.
Yeah.
I went in and collected an element of it. Obviously very tough to collect because of the popularity of some of the actors, but yeah, and absolutely loved it. And it's probably one of the most satisfying collecting experiences I've had ever.
Yeah, and I think that you kind of hit on what made that one interesting or take off was that sports card collector who knew that product, Black Diamond, and they knew about it, and they knew the configuration. And again, doing it with your kids, or if you're just a Marvel fan in general, it was easy for them to cross over. And I think that's why we saw some of the people who bought it early. Mm-hmm. Kudos to you, because that's another one where the box price just, I think it tripled, quadrupled. It's
astronomical.
It's tough to even find right now. So that was a big hit for sure.
Yeah, it was lovely. So thank you.
That was awesome.
do pass that on to your guys if you see them before the episode drops.
Give them some high fives.
But yeah, absolutely. No, it's good. We're going to do little trophies next year. We're going to do little trophies.
We got to do like our version of the Dundees, but like, I love it. I'm in.
What?
Okay, no, don't even. I don't want to hear this British Office, American Office debate. It's been years. We can all just admit. Okay, Dundees, baby.
I don't watch either version, baby.
Yes.
Guys,
those are cool.
This was the Marvel Champions. What was it?
The Champions. Yeah.
So we actually have little figures from that game that we produced. So kind of.
Oh, that's cool.
I've got those little dudes at my desk, but you might be able to manufacture those into some type of fun trophy.
I always find it fascinating looking at people's offices and setup. No, this is your realm we're in here. Is it, Chris? This is your office.
Yeah, but it's your show.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. I'm just checking out what's on the background. Mike Phillips' office is brilliant because he's got all these uncut sheets framed.
Oh yeah, he's a big uncut sheet guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he was showing us some of them. It was quite legendary to see them. One of the things I wanted to touch on, and we did kind of briefly talk about this before on our messages. I wanted to talk about the replacement program that you guys run, and just for those who don't know, let's just start off with what your service is and what the idea is behind that program.
Sure. You want to start?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's every damage card goes down the same route as every other one. We request images of the front and back, images of the damage, and always, if it's not on ePack, your proof of purchase and receipt. Obviously, we can verify the purchase on ePack. And then from there, we create a customer service case. A lot of the times for Marvel cases, me personally, I like to take the customer's top 5 to 7 favorite characters down. But yeah, from there, we create a customer service case. I'll take those names. I'll add it into the case for our warehouse to see and a possible replacement. From there, we always send out a confirmation email to let the customer know with the case number, instructions on what to do with the damaged card. And then I let them know I included those case names, or I'm sorry, those character names in in their case notes, and that we can't guarantee anything, but our warehouse will try as hard as they can to get something of equal sale value off that list. And from there, it's kind of off of California's hands, and it moves to North Carolina's hands, which is where our warehouse is currently located.
And to that, before we get into that, I think we are focused on making the most premium, highest quality trading cards in the market, and we work every one of the cards that we get back, we record what was the damage to it, and that is shared with our operations team, so they can go back to our vendors and look for trends like, oh, in the top right corner there were issues with this insert, or there was some peeling on this one, or things along those lines. So it's very important for us to use these issues to make better products in the future. That said, it is a mechanized process getting cards out the door. In most cases, with a product like Premier, we actually hand pack those with our staff. It's a long process. It sounds really cool to be able to be the guy or gal that's putting the cards in the box and checking out all the sketch cards and things like that, but it sounds great until day 3, when your back's hurt. You're like, I don't want to see another Marvel card ever again.
I used to work in a printers. I know what that's like. So, yeah.
So it's there are always going to be little things that can happen, whether it be crimping when a card is sandwiched between the closing of the pack, or peeling when it's moving through the little conveyor belt that moves the card, so that can lift up sometimes. So there's always little issues, but we believe that premium products deserve premium service, and it's important for us to make sure that we're taking care of our customers when they have a damaged item come in. So we offer that for a year from the release date, and just try to help out with customers when there are issues.
And it's a pretty seamless process. We have a great group of guys here, and actually one lady here now who's done an amazing job. And yeah, we're all caught up, and usually anything that comes through the wire usually gets answered that same day. So we're really happy with the progress we've made. And I know even ComC on their end as well, they've made amazing progress in shipping times and just getting things out.
So we have seen that, actually. I mean, we've moaned about it on this show, so I think it's only fair to say that feedback I'm seeing recently on the group is that ComC shipping time has vastly improved, and in fact exceeded expectations over the past few months. So
yeah, there were a couple times during the pandemic where I think everyone here in our customer care group was very happy that we didn't work in ComC's customer care group. So they've had a lot of challenges, but worked through them beautifully, and we expect greatness from them in the future.
Good. Well, so do we. So do we. So I just want to, because obviously there was an issue. An opinion, I guess, is the fairest way to say it, that was voiced recently in one of our groups about, when you're doing that replacement program. And actually, before I carry on with this, am I right in thinking that you don't have to do that replacement program? There's no kind of legal obligation for you to do it, or am I wrong?
I think if you look at competitors in the space and check out their Better Business Bureau ratings, I think you would see that some manufacturers take it much more serious than other manufacturers. I would say that is the best way to say it.
All right, fair enough.
But we are passionate about it. So
yeah, good. All right, okay. So what is, obviously, in the past year, it's been a bit bonkers in terms of the value of some cards. I think it's fairly safe to say. Not all cards. Some cards are quite happily just sitting at the value level of mediocrity. And long will they stay there. Not that there's anything wrong with those cards. It's just that they're not the ones that are floating up. How do you judge what fans may have in terms of their perception of the value of the card that they're getting replaced versus what they get sent? How is that done?
Very, very tricky because they have been fluctuating wildly, especially on more limited ones. And again, as we talked about, the crossover that e-Pack kind of lends itself to with regard to a sports collector being on the same platform and seeing, oh, well, what's this Marvel thing? Oh, there's precious metal gems cards. I know that from collecting sports all my life. That's something that I am interested in. There's Jambalaya cards in some Fleer releases that are also in sports releases. So that mentality of, I know this, I like this, I want this, crosses over and has created a real, again, if you've been sitting on some of the older precious metal gems or Jambalayas, you've been like, wait, what's it worth now? Because the values have literally skyrocketed. So that has been something that even for our teams has been a training issue, because we typically will look at completed auctions on eBay to try to get a feel for current market values. There's some other software tools that we use to see what items are trading for. That are somewhat proprietary, but at the same time, it's just trying to make sure that our collectors are getting a fair shake at things and are satisfied. That said, there is a perception, a fabulously misguided perception that James and I in our desks are sitting on mountains and mountains of cards. That's just not the case. We are really right now at the point where we are, again, we talked a little bit about baking a cake. We are at the point right now where we are baking the cake and we are using every ingredient that we have to maximize and make a great cake, right? You will have leftover at the end of your recipe when you make these things. Now, the leftovers that we have today are nowhere near as vast as they had when we were getting the Marvel publishing products started in the early 2011s to 2015-ish timeframe. And as you know, e-Pack came out in 2016. Now, what's interesting there, and sorry if I'm going off on a tangent, but it's important that people really know what has happened. When Mike Phillips used to go out and try to sell Marvel to sports card shops, they didn't want to take it. Even though that a lot of the products mirrored what was happening on the sports side, even though the Marvel movies were doing great, there wasn't a lot of interest in buying a case of Marvel cards. When Mike Phillips went out to try to sell it to comic shops didn't want to take it. They still had a little bit of a bad taste in their mouths from, I think, some of the things from the Skybox days, or they just didn't believe in it enough. And with e-Pack, the problem I think that most collectors had who love Marvel is, where do I get this dang product? And there were people that you could buy it online from that were great, but at the same time, your local shop just usually wasn't carrying it. So with e-Pack 2016, that hits. That makes it available so much easier for folks to collect, trade, engage with other collectors, that it really made it where, okay, now this is growing, and now shops are asking Mike Phillips, hey, how do I get some of this Marvel product? And comic shops are coming to him, and distributors want more. And now we're at the point where, okay, we know what we're making. We build in a little excess maybe, and then there's a little bit left over for customer care issues that come up. Well, for this particular instance, it went back, I think, to the 2015 Fleer Retro, some of the precious metals. When we were making our cakes back then, there was a lot of extra ingredients. We call it overrun cards, right? So we want those cards out in the market. But at the same time, back then, we believe in responsible category management. We're not going to make too many cakes for the market if we don't think that they're going to have interest in it. So we made the appropriate amount. We have that overrun, and we use that for issues with damage, collation, what have you. So it was a bit of a training issue, this particular one, where a one-of-one PMG was used that some people will say it should have gone out in the product. Well, everything hit ratios. All the ratios hit, all the one-of-ones, the vast majority were in there. There are people that have, issues with high-end cards. So it's important for us to have a couple one-of-ones that we can help out with. So I think that was what happened there, is that we've been able to maintain an inventory of some older items. I can say that it is literally probably down to like a sleeve of some of these older items. We're not sitting on mountains of one-of-ones or of tens. They're all very, very limited of what we have. And what we have is designed to, at the end of the day, help our customers and get out in the market and make sure that our customers have a great experience. So I know there is a perception sometimes that gosh, well, what do they have? Why isn't that out there in a pack? It wasn't out there in a pack because no one was asking for more packs. So that's basically how it boils down to.
Yeah. Listen,
I appreciate you.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much for clearing that up. We've definitely had talks about this in our circles and being like, I'm never going to see this card, man. When is it going to show up?
I know. And it's one of those things I talked with you guys a little bit beforehand. It's how do you type that out on a Facebook message? It's
no,
really,
you don't do that.
That's why shows are so great and so wonderful for us and for our community coordinators to be able to talk to collectors on a one-on-one basis and explain things a bit better, because in this day and age, we're just not able to get out there as much. So thank goodness we have your podcast and a great forum to be able to answer some of those tougher questions of why.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it immensely, because this is definitely going to help a lot of people put things in perspective and not let conspiracy theories and all this craziness kind of get out of hand. Definitely a very good thing to clear up and get out there for sure.
I mean, it's one thing, at the end of the day, you do feel like you just want to shout into the void. It's just cards. Much as we all love them, it's not a kidney.
Well, again, some of these are going for more than a kidney, so I understand and appreciate the passion, because
one day I'm going to be able to trade a card for a kidney I need.
Yeah.
Be down in the alleyway. It's like, yo, you got a PMG? You got the kidney? Let's do this.
Yeah.
Pull my cooler and run off.
Please do not trade our trading cards for body parts.
I'm sorry. I'm already doing it.
That's already happening. Sorry, Chris.
No take backs.
It's definitely happening. Right. Well, listen, I'm going to ask some questions now. Now, every time someone from Upper Deck comes on, I ask them 3 questions. This is our quick fire round. You've probably heard them before. You might even have prepared for this. I'm going to start with you, James. X-Men or Avengers?
Avengers, for sure.
Oh.
But I have a lot of respect for X-Men. I do. I'm a big Storm. She's one of my PCs, so.
Hey! Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
That's awesome. See,
there you go,
James.
What about you, Chris?
I am X-Men. My kids are Avengers, so I've been more Avengers lately because that's where they drag me to. But I grew up with X-Men, Daredevil, those types of comics in particular.
Cool. And actually, do you both? Do you kind of? Because I know when we spoke to Jason and when we spoke to Bubby, he was telling us that Jason goes after the slabbed books, and collects graded comics and things like that. And we know Grant is a deep rabbit hole of comics and collectibles. What do you guys kind of collect, if any?
Yeah, for me, it's funny you bring up comics. It's not Marvel, but my main collection has always been Spawn.
Nice.
I've just, for the longest time, collected the Spawn comics. No more figurines, but I do still have them in storage. I'm still waiting on that Spawn reboot movie, but I'm a big Todd McFarlane fan. I love his art, just really amazing. And if you could go to the darkest corners of my room and storage closets and find some cool Spawn stuff for sure.
So you're a big believer in Marvel masterpieces. The next one should be Todd McFarlane. See, I like James. James should be listened to.
Why didn't we think of that when we were spitballing artists for Marvel masterpieces?
Because we needed James here. That's what happened. We needed James and Chris here to get this going.
Wow.
Yeah, and mine, again, kind of an extension of my kids is what they see. So they love Thanos. They thought Thanos was so cool. So on my wall, I've got my snap that my son drew, and then obviously they love Spider-Man and Venom. So that's one of the. They love when they go to shows and events because I'm always buying singles, and it's so easy to just buy basic base cards for them. They get so fired up when I bring them home. So they've just been so grumpy that Dad hasn't been traveling.
That's awesome.
I tell you what, one thing I will say is make sure you stay to the very, very end.
Got it.
When you go to the theatre, if you know what I'm saying.
Pick it up, put your pen down.
So I have a feeling I might know the answer to this for Chris. I'm not sure, James, if you've been there long enough, but I know a lot of you have had cards made of you, specifically in the I can't remember the name of the set. Legendary.
Legendary.
Yeah, the bystander cards. Have you had a bystander card or any other card made of you, Chris?
I've been close, but I think I piss off some of the entertainment guys sometimes. So I haven't got a bystander card yet. But every event we go to, we usually have like a lot of the events we go to, we usually have like personalized cards or things like that. So our entertainment events team are fantastic that way. So I've got some fun personalized type ones, but nothing that's been mass produced.
Oh, what about you, James?
I've been here long enough to be promised one. So I think if I work one more Gen Con, I think I get that. To stick on the Legendary real quick, guys, I have a promo card here that we're actually going to start offering through our store. And these promo cards are cool. It's just they're going to be variations of our Mastermind cards that we offer in the sets. And these are actually going to be clear cuts. So they're going to be used in the game, but pretty much these cards can be used as collectibles. And this one you see here will be a Red Skull one, and there'll be other ones that we have. But this is going to be shortly offered, I believe, coming up in 2022. I'll send you guys a picture of this as well.
Wow.
You guys can use for solicitation. But I believe it's any $50 purchase or any purchase of 2 expansions, which equals $50. So there'll be multiple of those. And the Legendary game is just really fun in general. I personally wasn't aware of it when I first started working here, but as Chris said, now I'm demoing games. It really reinforces my knowledge of just everything Marvel. Our product development team does an amazing job securing all the art rights and just everything from the newest movies all the way to the oldest comics. You can see stuff on these cards that just really tie everything together, and it's really cool. And it's nice on my end too, because sometimes you'll be writing up a sports case, then you come across like a 100-card Legendary case, and yet I just get to sit there and type in Red Skull or Iron Man or all the different gadgets they have.
So cool.
It's a nice break in between all of it.
Yeah, and I will say that I think now that we're in this mode where all these cards are so expensive, what have you. If you're looking for cards with amazing original artwork, I love I get my kids a lot of the Versus System cards from the
yes,
amazing artwork. One of my favorite employee cards that I recently sold some of my employee cards because the market's just so high. But one I will never sell is I think it was 2005. It's an Alex Ross Spider-Man Versus System.
Full art. It's so beautiful. That is a great card.
Cool. So those, I think, and some of them had different effects or foils applied to them. So I love the Versus System cards, but the Legendary cards too. Just if you've got kids or what have you, you can buy a set and they're not going to play the game, right? The 10-year-olds, but 8-year-olds, but they love the art, and it's just it's cool to kind of share those with them.
I was just doing
carry on.
Real quick, I was going to say, even if you do like playing the games, there's a lot of rumors right now about Secret Wars and Marvel. We offer Legendary Secret Wars Volume 1 and Volume 2. So even before stuff starts to fire off on that, you can go ahead and grab those.
Absolutely.
I love the way he's got an advert in it. It's brilliant. I love it. I've been doing.
Well, no, I mean it's just
No.
It's really cool because
I love it.
I was just doing. I actually just did a video on Versus System because a lot of collectors are coming into the thing. So I did want a Sketch Card Hive because you have artists in there, Gabriel Delotto, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane. You have Alex Ross. You have everybody in there because it's published art. So you have this iconic art that's in the card set for the first time. And you got extended arts, foils. Man, it's just great. And Server was just in the Legendary and Annihilation. I just picked up the deck box. Yeah. Wow. So I got to get a second one so I can play the game without destroying the cards because I'm one of those sick people. You know what I mean? So it's in my case, but I just haven't touched it because I'm just like, I need to keep it sealed. So, but I'm very excited to check it out, actually.
Yeah, I've been picking up Black Cat cards from both.
You've been picking them up a lot, actually. Yeah. You've been catching up.
Yeah. No, there's so many, and finding the list of them as well is a challenge.
Oh man, it's tough. It's really tough, especially for characters. Because then you have like the team ones, the versus ones, or like the moments. Because the game is so nicely organized into these different like events or characters or changing things. So it's pretty fun. It's a fun chase for like character collectors to see where a small rendition of your character may be hiding in a card.
Yeah, usually because your character's not mentioned in the card title, so you just sometimes it's just pot luck that you find your character there. And last question I had for you: what set and/or project are you most proud of from your time at Upper Deck? That's like choosing a favorite child, I imagine, for you, Chris, given your longevity in the company.
Yeah, I've done a lot of different promo sets, but my favorite by far, it's called Heroic Inspirations. So we started it in 2015. There was a kid named Jack Hoffman who had pediatric brain cancer, tumor in his head, and the University of Nebraska brought him out for a spring game. Now, at a spring game in Nebraska, there's like 70,000 people in the stands. So it's the last play of the game. They bring him out, and he runs and scores a 73-yard touchdown, and everyone goes bonkers, and it gives me goosebumps just talking about it right now. So I was like, wow, what a moment. We were doing a lot with the colleges. Let's create a trading card for him and see if we could do some things for charity. And so we did, and we raised over $100,000 with his card and some of the things that we did for pediatric brain cancer. And I was like, this is cool. Let's do more of this. So we usually do about one or two of those a year. And it's sometimes they have a big financial impact, but sometimes it's just like a cool thing. And it follows a mantra that I believe in very strongly. It's do the right thing and let your brand go along for the ride. It's not about trying to make a viral sensation. Just do the right thing, and if it happens to go viral or if people really like it, then great. But there's something very fulfilling to me to be able to tell stories about people who wouldn't normally be on trading cards, and to be able to do some change and improve some lives along the way. So we have a wall out here. You guys will come visit someday, I know. But it's called the Wall of Inspiration. So I think we have about 16 different people up there now who we've honored with a Heroic Inspirations trading card. But that one is absolutely near and dear to me. And we're about to do our first Marvel Heroic Inspirations. It might be Marvel, it might be Entertainment. We've got artwork happening for it, so I can't talk too much about it yet, but it's coming. So hopefully we can do more and more of that.
That's awesome. That's absolutely lovely. Wow, that's really cool, man. That's awesome.
For myself, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a set I'm most proud of, as I haven't really done anything on the designing the set part. But as far as the specific one, I did have a brief stint in marketing last year where I did for 2020 Goodwin Champions. I designed the solicitation poster that we sent out to all of our shops, and also the box for that product. So that was really cool, kind of digging my hands into that product and choosing the cards that we wanted to display. And so therefore I would say that would be the one I'm most proud of, just because there's everything from actors, sports, entertainment there, just a whole wide variety. So that was a lot of fun to work on.
Those are good sets, man. People don't realize how good those sets are, but those are really, really, really amazing set. That's cool.
Goodwin Champions is, if it's got something for everyone. It's a really good kind of appetizer for the sports card market. But there's people that aren't in sports at all in there, so it's a lot of fun. And there's animals and map relics and ancient coins and all sorts of. We have a saying, Grant saying, is keep Goodwin Champions weird. Always have something quirky or fun in there, and they do an excellent job with that.
Yeah. He is a bit like the mad professor in his laboratory. With I love that kind of thing. He's told us about his insect cards.
I thought that was so cool.
The bug cards were amazing. You can't even find them.
Cool.
Yeah.
I tried looking for him after he mentioned it. I scoured eBay because I was like, damn, these sounds awesome. I couldn't even find some pictures. It was really cool, man.
One of the first ones, I think it was 2011. It was called Landmarks. And so it was cable from the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. It was a bigger card. Can't find those anywhere. But my son has is so interested in the Titanic. And we had coal embedded into a trading card from the Titanic. I've been looking for one of those cards for like 3 years. I cannot find one. So
wow.
There's a lot of quirky stuff in there. But again, if you're collecting as a family, Goodwin Champions is a really fun product.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Stan Lee's in there, I think. Stan Lee. Yeah. I had some people show me some Stan Ly cards from there. I thought it was beautiful. Really cool.
I think Kevin Smith's in one year because I've got him on my wish list.
Oh, yeah. On my wish list.
But my wish list, the long wish list.
The long wish list.
That never seems to dwindle.
One year in 2019, I was severely going after a Jennifer Love Hewitt inscribed "I Know What You Did Last Summer" card on eBay. Almost had it. Almost.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I love cool things like that. One of my favorite cards is not one of yours, unfortunately, guys, but we've talked about it before. Is from the TV show Lost. They did these cards signed by Greg Grunberg as the pilot with pieces of the plane that they actually used, a real plane. They cut it up for the pilot episode, and they had pieces of the fuselage of the plane actually in the card. I mean, it's heavy. I mean, it's thick as well. But they've also got some where the actor's got sand, and you've got photos on the card of the actor getting a jar and filling it full of sand from the beach. And some of that sand is within an acetate little window in the card. It's the craziest
thing.
Cards
are just so awesome. Just so
I know I said we don't have a bunch of cards in our desk, but this one I just happen to have because you mentioned that. It's from Goodwin Champions. It's from our museum collection. So it's aviation.
Oh, wow.
Again, we got World War II flight suits. And this one has a button for one of the guys in there. But again, really thick, oversized, kind of cool cards. But again, that's kind of the fun thing about Goodwin Champions. A lot of just interesting or unique content. So
I love that so much. Just looks like a museum piece. Like I love that. Like some cards just like have that presence to them. That's really cool.
Yeah, we actually call it the museum collection. So you're right on.
Oh, this is what I like about some of the Marvel relics you guys have done. I especially like the fact that you've managed to come up with costume cards for Rocket Raccoon, who people think of as a CGI character, but I think there was actually someone wearing something with a tennis ball on their head when it was filmed. So I imagine that's how that works. And then that micro swatch card from Ant-Man that I'm determined to track down.
That was a great idea.
I love that image. That's so fun because it's got this tiny card too. But my sons they saw on eBay, it's the oversized card of Thanos with the gems. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it
was the achievement.
So I was like, no, that's not, we didn't make that. I was just like trying to be like, move on. Nothing to see here. So.
We, by the way, if your eventual No Way Home set doesn't include an autograph card from Alfred Molina, I'll be coming round.
Ian's gonna riot.
Noted.
Because he didn't sign for Spider-Man 2. James, Chris, this has been fantastic. Thank you. We should probably let you go because you've got a busy. You've probably got people queuing up and wondering why you're not responding to their messages, James. And Chris, I'm sure you've got stuff to go and do in terms of Christmas shopping, if nothing else, because the big day, as we record, is only 4 days off. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you making time for us and explaining, some of the stuff that people have been talking about.
One thing I want to just talk one more thing real quick.
Go on.
Is a program that we started around our 25th anniversary called Upper Deck Random Acts of Kindness. And what it is for our team to look out there online. At the time, there was just a lot of negativity and just people just being grumpy. And I think that's what happens on social media, right? Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. But back in the day, oh my gosh, people used to be crazy. So we wanted to come up with a way to create more collector love out there and community, that sense of community that we're all in this together. And now you see a lot of people doing this where it's like, hey, I got a rack from a friend or what have you. But RAK stands for Random Act of Kindness. So we wanted to create more community. And then also I think there's a lot to actually hearing from a brand and not getting a form letter, So all our staff will actually write handwritten letters for our Random Acts of Kindness program. But what we did is, we look for people who are good stewards for the hobby out there. And we try to get creative and come up with things that are right in their wheelhouse, whether it be a character they collect or a player or they just, love the product. Let's get them a sweatshirt or a hat. And it's always funny, there's a lot of excitement around mail days in the industry. I got an eBay mail day or, I got a trader mail day.
Mail cool.
Get a mail day from a company that you don't expect, just saying thanks for being a good part of the community. I think that really goes a long way. So for those of you that are listening out there, be a good steward for the hobby. Our team will find you and recognize you. and you'll just feel better for being a good, outstanding member of the community as well. So that's the Random Act of Kindness program in a nutshell. So I want to make sure we touched on that too.
No,
I still have my card, actually. It's amazing. I still have it with everybody signed on. It was great. It was so nice. It's very nice. Very nice.
Angelica sent me one in the middle of lockdown last year with a couple of.
So you guys both got wrapped.
Yeah, with a couple of packs of Marvel Ages, actually.
Ages.
And I think it's just nice to know that, that I like to buy from companies that I know care about my business. Like I'm very loyal to that. So I think it's important for us to share the same type of passion for the people that are spending time on and money on our products.
Absolutely. Well, we can't really say anything more than that, really. You know how we end our episodes, gents. It's the perfect kind of ethos to sign off with. Do you want to kind of do it together? Or do you just want to take it?
We can do it together. Real quick, I just had one more thing to say, too. I just want to say thank you, Ian, and thank you, Norrin, for the amazing community you guys have created.
Agreed.
Even me just coming in and like kind of monitoring it for Upper Deck, it doesn't seem like work. I follow it on my personal accounts, the weekends. I'm looking, I see all the cool stuff. So thank you again. It just feels like another extension of Friends. So I was really happy to come on and do this with you guys.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you.
We appreciate you too, brother.
Right, I'm going to do a silent countdown. Are you ready?
Enjoy collecting. Thank you.
We are going to so use that. Yes! Right, that's brilliant. Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. Visuals and tasting notes for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. You can subscribe and leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast can be found by Googling @the MCC Pod, which will also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.